and I have been a follower and advocate and supporter for this film that Kristie has done. A magnificent job, and very proud to be associated with it and to be able to provide little bits of supplemental information.
Okay. When you first heard about her wanting to do this project, how did it come about?
Well, at the time I was provost of the Ybor City campus in Tampa, and I received a call one day from Kristie Andersen, who was doing a film on my great aunt, Zora Neale Hurston. And she came over and we started talking about it, and that's where I first became interested in the project and just became a follower of Kristie Andersen.
Okay, and I mean, like when she first approached you, what were your initial reactions?
Well, I was surprised, and I was delighted to find that someone in Tampa, in the very area where I lived and worked, was working on the life story of Zora. Very impressed and very proud to have the opportunity to meet her.
Okay. You yourself personally, did you ever get a chance to meet Zora Neale Hurston in real life?
Unfortunately, no, I didn't, though I was old enough to have met her, and I'm certain that I would have remembered her. But she did a lot of traveling, didn't stay in any one place for very long, so I only knew of her from my mother and others later in life, but unfortunately I never had the opportunity to meet her in person.
Okay. With the movie that came out about her and just her novels in general, especially during the 1920s and the 30s, how much was of an impact was she on the family, would you say?
Well, I would say a tremendous impact, because at the time that I met Kristie, she was interviewing relatives of mine, aunts and uncles and cousins, and we were all delighted to know that there had been this resurgence of Zora's works. And happy for Zora, I might add, that this was happening. So it was a time, I think, that contributed to our coming together as a family. We sometimes say that we got to know each other because of Zora. So many of us were separated and lived in different parts of the country and really didn't know each other, except through the resurgence of interest on the part of academics and documentarians such as Kristie. So I would have to say that all of these things made a great impact on our family.
Okay, so Ms. Kristie, we move to you now. You come in. How did you get involved with this project? What sparked your interest initially?
Initially, what sparked my interest, first of all, I'm a Florida filmmaker, and so I focus a lot on Florida. And I'm always looking, I do a lot of documentaries, I'm always looking for something that's compelling and maybe presents the world of Florida in a different way than you think it is. And what really interested me in Zora is that she shot film footage. It's not often that you're able to find a writer who not only documented themselves through the written word, but who also used film as a way to express their subject. And so she was documenting the Black South and the language and culture of Black Southerners, like I said, not just in her writing, but in film. And that's what you need when you're a filmmaker, is you need, especially documentary film, you need footage. So it was just a perfect combination of materials and talent, all in one human being. And she was had such a delightful curve to her life, being so favored and blessed, and then being so rejected, I think. And she was a strong woman, and I like films. I like any story about a strong woman.
Okay. She obviously, just from the story of her life, and you said she shot film, was revolutionary. How did that come across to you in her footage and also in some of her words?
You know, I didn't know that much, honestly, about her writing as I did about her anthropology. So when I started reading Zora, it's funny because I knew about her life and that she had, you know, had been very feted as a writer, as a person. But when you read Zora Neale Hurston's books, you get this sense of dialect that really does embrace, you know, a period of time. But also, you get this sense that, you know, there's somebody who is reaching deep from within and making you really think a little bit more about the life that you lead. You know, everything. I could read Zora's work over and over again.
You can.
You can. And each time you find something new, and she just has a way.
Okay. Yes, she does. And she comes across, at least from what I've read as a writer too, poet, as a quintessential artist who crossed all lines and boundaries. I mean, you're talking about the 20s in the South and even in the North. How did that strike you? That just having that tenacity to do something like that at that time.
She was pretty spunky.
Yes, she was. She certainly had, I think, the background. I guess speaking from my own experiences growing up in a segregated community, I think she had that thing that comes from having the experience and the support of a community of people who look just like you and who give you that sense of security to be able to go out into a larger world, to know who you are, and to be confident in what you want to accomplish, that you can accomplish and reach all of those goals that you establish for yourself.
Speaking of her community, I had a chance to visit there about 10 years ago. Could you tell me about that? It's a very unique community. It still has that certain sting in the air. Could you tell me about that?
Well, I know the first time that I visited Eatonville, I had the sense that, you know, my ancestors, Zora walked here, my great-grandfather, I just had that sense of what that community must have been and what it must have meant to those people growing there and living there, and why Zora was the person that she became, because she was born of that community. So I had a great sense of pride, and it wasn't just visiting and looking, it was absorbing and just feeling somewhat fulfilled just by being on that soil in that place. The odd thing is that Zora's mother was such an advocate and a proponent of education, and she encouraged all of her children in the field of education. So Zora's brother, who is my grandfather, went on to become a medical doctor. His brother, one of the other siblings, became a pharmacist. Zora, of course, became a writer of renown. And then I discovered, of us who didn't know each other very well, when we did get together, a good percentage of us had found careers in education. So I think that pursuit of education seems to have been passed down through the generations, and for that I'm grateful. So that has been what we have pursued in probably the case of at least 6 of the 9 siblings, or 8.
Yeah, okay.